Okay. Thank you, Lady Nile. Welcome, everybody. We are pleased to have you at Power Monday. My name is Otieno Paul Peter, who will be your host, and I'm happy to be here with you. I enjoy this. We do it every Monday morning, as long as it's a working day. Only public holidays in Kenya are not included, and so you can always be sure that we are going to have a session. You can put it in your calendar, to set your reminder, and always log in. We use the same link every day for the last 6 years. And over and above that, Power Monday has a couple of physical activities. Power Monday was started during COVID season because the world was very negative. People were talking all distress, and we thought of what could we do to make life more meaningful? What could we do to make people happy to wake up on a Monday morning and go to work and feel refueled? And that's the way the idea of Power Monday came in. We've always held it at the same time throughout this season. So we meet a couple of times in a year in person for people who are within the vicinity of Nairobi. And the next one is going to be on 6th of June when we are visiting a children's home for a mentorship. It's the same children's home we've always visited so that we help them to grow their children reclaimed from the street. And then we have a meet and greet in July, usually the last Saturday of July. But right now, I'd like us, they say leaders make decisions early and then just manage them when that time comes. I hope all of us who are within the vicinity, within Kenya, because dinner, everyone within Kenya can come in. If you are out of Nairobi, this could be your opportunity to come to Nairobi. We have a dinner on the 31st of October, the last Friday of October at Sarova Panafrique. It's going to be bigger than ever. The first, we've had dinner twice before it's become an annual event. In 2024, we were about 44 of us. In 2025, last year, held at Nairobi Club, we were about 80. And this year, we expect to be over 100. And you better be part of that story. So I welcome Dr. Lucita to give us an icebreaker with a poem, and then we move on.
Am I audible enough?
Okay, go on.
Beautiful. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, queens and kings. I honor you all this morning. And oh my, who is going to miss this dinner? We are going to revive the vibe. Imagine it's been 6 years. Amazing how that COVID brought up something as beautiful as this. It is the month of May. We're finishing it this Monday. This is our last Monday. Am I right, sir? It is.
Yeah.
And it's been our mental wellness month. And in that note, I want to do something in that line that I have titled Sometimes. And I hope we will all enjoy. Sometimes my mind sounds like traffic in Nairobi. It is loud, it is impatient, it is bad, it is uncouth. Thoughts overlapping other thoughts. Na kila thought inataka attention. I don't know, it is my mind, it is one person. I couldn't handle each beat sometimes. Sometimes I laugh with people while anxiety sits quietly next to my heartbeat, like an unwanted guest ambaye hataki kwenda kwake. Sometimes I tell myself, kuwa too strong again and again and again, mpaka hii strength inakuwa kama burden. Sometimes nobody teaches you how tired strong people become when they are busy saving everyone except themselves. Sometimes I disappear in crowded rooms, the body is very present and the soul is missing. Nasikia tu watu wakibonga, but my mind is somewhere else. I am fighting memories, replaying the failures, creating disasters that ambazo hazijafika. I am creating a problem in the future. Sometimes peace feels illegal when your brain is used to surviving chaos. Sometimes the hardest battle is just waking up. Not because I hate life, hapana, napenda tu life. But because carrying the invisible pain is just heavy work, because my brain is just overwhelmed. It is just too much. And sometimes I want silence without loneliness. I want rest without guilt. I want a soft place to land without explaining why I am overly tired. Sometimes healing is not motivational speeches. Sometimes healing ni kulala tu mapema, or maybe just drinking water, switching off your phone and forgiving yourself, because basically you are just human. Sometimes God feels very distant. Sometimes my faith is shaken. Sometimes my prayers come out as broken. I don't know whether I should pray in English, Kiswahili, or the Luo. Sometimes I'm just half tears. Najaribu kusema, God, shall I wake up or not? But sometimes, maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I shouldn't be existing, but the only thing is I keep going because my mind is lost. But sometimes you just have to wake up and put it all together and remember that victory is a step at a time. Sometimes staying alive is the most courageous thing that you can do. Sometimes all you have to do is show up for PowerMonday, you know? Sometimes all you have to do is to take a walk, because sometimes I have to live to achieve my purpose. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's beautiful. And on that note, I invite um, Mercy to introduce the guest speaker, Mercy Okoth of Dreamers.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PowerMonday once again, and today is my privilege to introduce to us the speaker of the day, who is none other than Dr. Ben Festus, who holds a PhD in physics, specializing in electronics measurement and instrumentation from the Federal University of Technology, Accra. He holds a postdoctoral fellowship with the Center of Nanoengineering and Advanced Materials, Department of Metallurgy, University of Johannesburg, South Africa. He serves as the Director of Research and Development at the Federal Polytechnic in Nigeria. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Science, Laboratory Technology, and the Institute of Policy Management and Development, and a member of both the Institute of Physics London and the Nigerian Institute of Physics. Dr. Ben is the co-founder of, the co-founder of Cooltech, the world's first smart vaccine cooling device designed to support effective cold chain delivery in remote and off-grid environments. His work sits at the intersection of advanced materials, IoT-enabled systems, renewable energy, and sustainable engineering, with a strong emphasis on translating research into practical, real-world solutions. He has led several high-impact research and innovation projects, including AI-driven traffic monitoring system, adaptive assessment technologies, and the development of agro-waste-based material for engineering and environmental application. Doc is a well-published researcher and reviewer for several top international journals, with over 25 research articles and 5 book chapters published in Scopus and Web of Science indexed outlets. His work has attracted over 300 citations with an H index of 10 and an I-10 index of 10. Scholars will understand this, reflecting both productive and growing research impact. Dr. Ben has successfully attracted competitive funding from major national and international bodies, including the Nigerian Communication Commissions, EFCOS UK, Global Exam Services South Africa, TET Fund NRF, TET Fund Institutional Based Research, and TET Fund Publication Grants. Beyond his research, he's deeply committed to innovation development, capacity building, and strengthening industry-academia collaboration. His work continues to champion a shift from knowledge generation to solution-driven research that delivers measurable societal and economic impact, particularly within Africa. Wow, what a powerhouse. And I can assure you that you can only get such in PowerMonday on a Monday morning. So let's put our hands together as we welcome Dr. Ben to share with us. Karibu sana, Doc.
Great. I understand why you are the best to introduce this speaker. With that academic background, excellence. welcome, Festus. You're still muted.
Good morning, colleagues. Ijambo, those in Nairobi, Kenya, to colleagues from other part of Africa and other parts of the world. I say good morning. Kenya is 2 hours ahead of African countries like Nigeria. So it would interest you to know that we have colleagues from Nigeria as well on the call. So this morning is an African discussion. So I'm sure our colleagues from Kenya are happy to host other colleagues from different parts of Africa to join this conversation on this Power Monday. I want to commend every one of you at PowerMonday for what you are doing. I've listened to the vision behind the program, and it's very, very commendable. That you've been able to sustain this for 6 years is also very commendable. I want to wish you guys a wonderful strength, grace to continue to do this exploit and continue to motivate people into action. I also want to appreciate Razia for the opportunity to at least speak to you guys about me, and of course having me on the call this morning. I understand that Power Monday is a free personal development session that is designed to help nurture leaders and of course change their lives. And I see that that's what has been happening over the years. So it's a privilege to be here. It's a conversation I'm more comfortable with. And of course, this morning, we're looking at from trash to wealth, sustainable development through innovation. I know we have very limited time, so I'm going to be as brief as possible while I hope that I pass across the information that we need. I'm not going to be speaking like an academician this morning. I'm going to be speaking as a researcher and, of course, as a business person, because one of the things why we wake up every morning is to make money. So imagine you wake up in the morning and by the end of the day, there's no money in your pocket. Of course, somebody's going to say it's a bad day. But for us today, I know it's going to be a very good day for us. So let's start the conversation almost immediately. All right, now there's a screen here. I don't know. I'm going to give us some few seconds to pause and look at this picture. And the simple question I want to ask is, what can you see? I will be looking at the comment section for us to type what we are seeing. So look at the screen. Just tell us, what do you see in this particular screen or picture that is before you? So you can use the comment section to drop your own observation. Okay, somebody says they see a dump site. All right, okay. Somebody sees people and trash. Wow, many people and trash can coexist. That's interesting. All right, somebody is seeing trash. All right. There's a dump site. People doing business under the umbrella. Interesting. Somebody is doing business in this. I'm sure it's going to be a smelly place. Oh, and somebody is still making money there. Okay, somebody is killing scavengers. All right, right. All right, people, dirty side. Okay. Thank you so much for those different comments. It shows that we're actually saying something. Now, it's important for us to know that when it comes to this topic we are discussing, your sight and your ability to see matters is very crucial to this level. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, I'm going to be discussing this, having this interaction or conversation under 3-layer framework. And of course, I'm going to be looking at it from an African context because, like I said, we have Africans on the call this morning. I'm sure PowerMonday, like I said, has accommodated some of us from different parts of Africa. And of course, I have colleagues from different parts of Africa that are actually on this call at this moment just to follow up and see what we are doing. So I'm going to look at it from 3 perspectives. Number one, seeing differently. It's important how we see and what we see. And from this aspect, we'll be looking at the mindset, the sustainability, the SDGs, and of course, the African perspective. And number 2 is understanding the waste economy. At this point, we'll be looking at the categories of waste that we have, the value chains that actually exist, the stakeholders, and how money actually flows when it comes to the waste economy. And the third one will be, how do you build wealth from waste? Is it actually possible? Are there people that have done something about it before? And of course, how can we as individuals, as Africa, as a continent, actually tap into this? So let's start with the first one. Now, one of the things, we go back to that same picture that we saw or that I showed us in the second slide. And one of the things you would observe is from the responses, people were seeing things differently. For some people, they saw pollution. And of course, that's a problem because if you see pollution, you are seeing a problem, you are concerned. Somebody is there inside the same dump site. Some people are there, they are not concerned about the smell. Somebody says somebody is doing business. Despite the pollution, some people are still comfortable there. For some people, they see raw materials. Now, it's important for us to know that what we see is very fundamental because the eyes happens to be the only organ that brings light into the body. And that's why most of the times what you see is not, actually, it's not about what you think that makes you, it's about what you see, because what you see is what goes into your processed thoughts that you begin to think about, that begin to decide whether you will see something as possibility or you see something as negativity. So again, what you see and how you process what you see is very fundamental. And that is why the issue of the mindset is very key. When it comes to seeing things, we have different people. What makes the things different is the mindset. So it's now about how do you change, how do you see waste? Some people saw energy. And from that same job site, there's energy potential. And I'm going to show you how some countries are actually using this waste to generate energy. For some people, they see employment. Somebody talked about somebody selling there. These are scavengers. That means they're actually employed, looking for something that they can use to feed their families. For some people, they see industrial feedstocks. For some people, they see climate opportunities. So from the same picture, we have different views, different things that we see. And of course, what affects what we see sometimes is based on the amount of information that we have at our disposal. Now, innovation does not start with technology. Rather, it starts with a problem. Now, one of the things I want to leave us with this morning is that as you go out this morning on your journey, understand that when you see things, look for problems. Look for problems. Wealth creation starts with perception. If you believe you can't be wealthy, you can never be wealthy. If you don't see yourself as being successful, you cannot be successful. No matter how much people pray over you, no matter how much sacrifices you do, of course, it has to stand from the mindset. So let's proceed. And of course, the second thing is we try to make us understand that this waste problem is not only peculiar to Africa, it's actually a global issue. And that is why we talk about the Sustainable Development Goals. And there are about 17 of them, but our interest is just in 6 of them. Now, from these Sustainable Development Goals, we have 6 key areas that aligns basically with waste issues or trash. Number 1 is no poverty, that's SDG 1. Of course, we're trying to see how can Africa come out of poverty? How can Africa, the citizens in Africa begin to live well and above poverty? Unfortunately, we sit on a gold mine that we have never assessed. And that is why this Power Monday, I'm hoping that our understanding, our narrative, our understanding about all of these things will definitely change. Waste economy has what it takes to create livelihood for everybody. And of course, it's a sustainable waste. We'll talk about that later. SDG 8 is also talking about decent work and economic growth. Now, with waste industry, we can create jobs and SMEs, and I'm going to also show us how you can also benefit from this waste entrepreneur as we continue. SDG 9 talks about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And you understand that every industry survives on raw materials. And the best way you can get raw materials is from this waste or from what we call the trash. And of course, we also have what we call the innovation. Innovation thrives based on ideas. How can we convert this waste into products? It will interest you to know that waste are actually being used to replace cement. We are developing strategies by which we can minimize or replace cement partially or completely by using some of the circular waste. And of course, we use them for developing infrastructures. SDG 11 talks about sustainable cities and communities. In 2024, I was in Nairobi for a British Council program. And of course, Nairobi happens to be a very beautiful place. I was actually looking out for the reserves, and I still have memories from there. I've been to different parts of the African continent, and one of the things I see is a growing urban centers. And when there is urbanization, of course, there is waste management because, like somebody said, people and trash. When you see people, you see trash because people generate trash. Trash are not things that generate themselves. So how then do we manage this urban waste generation? Is it a problem or is it a gold mine? SDG 12 talks about responsible consumption and production. How core is this circular waste to SDG economies? And lastly, climate action, SDG 13. So when you actually have a single topic that satisfies at least 6 of key SDG goals, then it tells you that waste management is no longer just an environmental issue, it is now an economic strategy. And I'm hoping that those on the call this morning will begin to see differently, think differently, and see how they can benefit or take hold of this perspective. So we'll look at it from the African perspective, from waste crisis to economic opportunity. Now, Africa is actually challenged in several ways. Number one, we've got rising population. And of course, what it means is the more people we have, the more waste we generate, and the more pressure that will be on the landfill or the land on the ecosystem. Now, we also have a poor waste systems in Africa. There's inadequate collection, there's poor sorting, we don't have recycling centers. All these are very limited in Africa. We have the issue of urbanization, rapid urban growth, outpacing infrastructure. We also have unemployment in Africa. Millions of our young people don't have decent jobs. I'm sure most of us are aware of the current happening in South Africa, where the youth are on the street protesting that foreign immigrants have taken over their job. It's not only immune to South Africa alone. There are other African countries that also feel that their youth are not gainfully employed. So how then is the government going to solve all of this? Imports. Africa is the only continent across the globe that imports virtually everything. We have become a dumping site for all manner of second-hand tokumbo. We give them good names. Somebody that is earning salary cannot drive a new car, is driving a tokumbo and is happy. And these cars are manufactured in 1997, 2004, 2001, and they are happy. So we import all manner. Why? Because there is no functional industry in Africa. Now, what is the main issue? Why are these industries not functioning? I hope I'm going to somebody is going to be motivated this morning to start an industry by the end of this discussion. Environmental degradation is also pertinent with Africa. Pollution, climate impact. I've been to Johannesburg. Of course, the cities are dirty. I've been to some part of Kenya, some part of Nairobi. We have the same issue. So it's not about only just one part of Africa. It cut across. Of course, we have some cities that are fine, that are okay, well managed. But again, we have majority. We're talking about the urbans. What about the rural centers? How are they being taken care of? So pollution, climate health, and climate impact and health risks are actually issues. And of course, Africa generates enormous quantity of agricultural waste. Cassava peel is largely produced in Nigeria. And of course, the question is, what do we do with the waste? Plastic waste is also there in Africa. E-waste, electronic waste, laptops, computers, biomass waste from the sawmills, sawdust. What do we do with them? Do we burn them? Are we just wasting them away? How are we using them? Scrap metals. When your car breaks down or your part is destroyed in your car, what do you do with the part that you get from the car? So these are opportunities that Africa needs to look on, begin to think of how to harness them. Now, the major issue is here, Africa is not poor in resources. Rather, we are losing value because we don't manage our waste very well. So we need a mind shift into seeing how waste can become a value chain creator. So what are the categories of waste that we have? I'm assuming I have a large audience, so I'm not assuming everybody is academic. So that's why permit me a bit to just talk a little about the integrity so that we can all flow together. Agricultural waste is one of them. And of course, examples of agricultural waste include your coconut hulks, your rice hulks, anything you get from agricultural plants. Maybe your even animal residues, your chicken feathers, your cow horns, all of these fall under agricultural waste, and they have potential for energy generation. I have used them for composite creation, where we actually use them to reinforce aluminum metals or other kind of aluminiums, other kind of metals to enhance their strength. Of course, we have seen studies that have used them as fertilizers. We have also been able to use them as animal feed, as biochar, and of course, currently, they are being investigated more for construction materials. Remember, I said that currently we're looking at what we call geopolymers, how we can be able to replace cement. Imagine, well, of course, we have had some success in this area. So in situations where you can actually need 100 bags of cement, you use 70. That means you have saved 30 bags of cement. And of course, if you multiply 30 bags of cement with whatever currency you have, you know how much money you are saving. Then, of course, we have the plastic waste. Of course, plastic waste is what every one of us know. From PET bottles, you drink your canned Coke, you drink your PET bottle Coke, PET Coke, you throw these things away. What, of course, these are waste. But unknown to you, this waste has the potential to be used for paving blocks. And why do we use them for paving blocks? In fact, we use them for bricks because they have good thermal properties. They can keep your house cool and warm. And currently, we have some research we are doing in this area funded by the Canadian government to see how we can develop bricks made from plastic waste. And of course, we can use them for furnitures, textiles, recycled PETs, and fuel conversion. Again, we have the e-waste. Like I said, the e-waste talks about your batteries, your phones, your laptops, your cables, your TVs. And of course, for these e-waste, currently, one of the research I'm doing is how to extract laboratory salts from these e-waste because they are metals. So we are developing strategies on how we can begin to recycle this e-waste. Before now, these e-waste are on the dump site. You see them in the ocean, the seas. People dump them away because they feel they have no value. But now, instead of importing laboratory grade source for our laboratories, we are trying to see how we can extract them from these e-waste and refine them for better quality. And of course, we have people that have used them for component recovery, From this e-waste, you can recover gold, you can recover silver, because all these things were used in creating these devices that you see. And of course, we have recycling industries that needs these materials to survive. The metal waste are there, the aluminum cans. In fact, in Nigeria, and I think I'm not sure about Kenya, but in Nigeria, for aluminum cans, they use them to make cookware, aluminum pots. So we recycle these aluminum cans, put them in a foundry, and of course, they create a cookware which people can sell and buy in the market. Of course, vehicle scraps, they are also part of metal waste. Your industrial scrap, they are part of metal waste. And of course, you can use them to fabricate new materials. Organic and biodegradable waste is also there. These are the food waste, the animal waste, and the market waste. Imagine you go to market. How do you dispose of these unripe fruits or this food that are spoiled? Sometimes they are badly disposed or decomposed, creating hazardous environment within the area. But of course, do you know that we can actually have a biogas that can be developed from this? And from this biogas, you can actually power electricity. And that's one of the current research I'm also working on with some set of people. Of course, we can also use this food waste as compost, as fertilizers as well. And automotive waste is also another part where we have your tires, used tires, engine oil, batteries. You don't throw these things away. All these things are money. And I'm trying to hope that by the end of this discussion, we'll begin to see waste differently. I want to take a minute and pause and ask yourself, look around your house, look around your environment, look around your country. Which of these waste streams do you find in abundance? Of course, there must definitely be one that you see every now and then. So you can note that and begin to take notes as we proceed. Now, the question is, are all waste recyclable? Can you recycle all the waste? Of course, that is no. The reason because waste comes in different grades and in different compositions. For example, there's this warning that for lead-acid batteries, you have to dispose them very well. You can't just burn lead-acid batteries because it's toxic. You can't just burn lithium batteries because when lithium meets oxygen, that is bomb that will actually occur. So not all waste are recyclable, but many waste can be reused. Reused in the sense that you just use the waste the way it is. For example, I have this I bought this was a lollipop stuff I bought for my children sometimes back. And of course, it's a nice container. I can't throw this away. So I'm reusing this the way it is. What I've done is I keep my keys here. So that is one way where you get to reuse waste the way it is. You know, without any production, without any processing, you can reuse waste the way it has been designed. Again, you can recycle. This case, you want to process into raw materials, of course, and come up with something new. You can repurpose the waste by creating reuse for new purposes. You want them for new purposes. We have seen where people have used tires to make nice chairs. We have seen people have used plastics to decorate bags. So these are repurposing waste. And of course, you can also recover waste. I talk about you want to recover metals, you want to recover gold or particular metal from a waste material. And of course, lastly, you want to convert this waste into energy. For example, you want a biogas or you want electricity. So the goal in waste the value chain system is not actually to have a zero waste, because there's no way we'll have zero waste. Rather, the goal is to maximize value recovery. How much can you recover per time? That is very essential. And of course, that takes us to the second layer, which is understanding the waste economy. Now, we need this wealth plan for waste. How do we make money from waste? We have seen waste as a problem. If you look at my left side here, one of the things you see here is you see problem. These are people, this is waste. Of course, it's problematic. How are you going to survive in this kind of waste? And it will interest you to know that humans like you and I generated this waste that has become a problem. Unfortunately, nobody is doing anything about, or very few people are doing something about. Even the government is not interested, because they feel they see oil, so they find other means of money. But unknown to them, this waste is actually a gold mine that many people have refused to tap. So waste is everywhere. And of course, the value of waste is always overlooked. Now, I'm going to leave you with these 5 key things today. And that is, if there's nothing you gain from this interaction this morning, understand these 5 points. See, think, build, test, and scale. So it starts from what you see. Identify ways that have been overlooked. And of course, what do you think? How are you thinking it? What problem can this waste solve? The next thing is, how do you build a resource? How do you build an enterprise from this waste? And when you build something from these waste materials, you want to test it. Does it work? Can it work? And how do you test? You validate whatever you have designed by going to the market, you meet with users, you look for economic policies. And of course, if the user say, fine, this thing you have designed is making sense, I want to buy, then the next thing is start looking for partners, start creating an industry, start discussing with the government. I have an idea, I want to start a company. And of course, that is where we are now. So the waste game has left the part where we used to know it before. Waste has now become a viable industry. And I'm going to show you how you can key into this waste industry regardless of your location. And of course, you can actually start something in that regard. So we look at this. So for the waste value chain system, one of the things we need to understand is there are multiple entry points into the waste to wealth value chain. It's a value chain system. So you can start from anywhere. You can start from anywhere depending on what you have or how willing, or let me say how less ego you have. Many people think only factory owners make money. That's not true. The waste economy actually has multiple entry points, which I'm going to share with us in the next slide. So you don't need to own a factory to benefit from the waste economy. Whether you're a grassroots person, you're an organization, you have a small business, you have a big industry, you are good in ideas, you can actually benefit from the waste to wealth value chain. The first part of entry is you can start as a collector. Somebody needs to collect this waste. Who are collectors? We call them collectors or gatherers, people that go about to pick this waste. And of course, somebody has to pick the waste. And from the different pictures you will see here, we have people from the landfills that pick directly from the landfills, from the dump sites. In fact, you can create a program in your school to say, okay, a recycling. I'm sure most of us have read about recycling programs where you can say, okay, PET bottles should be in this container. Metal bottles should be in, glass bottles should be in this container. Metal waste should be in this container. You can do that. You can even teach children how to dispose or how to sort waste at an early age. But the major thing is, when it comes to waste economy or the waste value chain, it starts with a collector. Somebody must collect this waste. Somebody must get this waste and put them together. And that is where you can. So if you feel fine, you can even sacrifice, maybe if you work from 7 to maybe 8 to 4, right, evening, you can do them. Or again, you can begin to say, okay, keep your own waste. That's what I do. When I go to repair my car, I don't leave my waste with the mechanic. I don't leave my waste with the vulcanizers. I go back home with my spare tires. I go back home with whatever part has been replaced in my car. So you can begin to create a value system for yourself. And of course, why am I creating this? I'm not just trying to create another pollution site. No, I'm trying to make money. I'm going to show you how we make money from this act. So the first thing is you can be an individual collector, or you can also collect for. I know some of us on this call, we are big men, we are rich people. We say, oh, I can't be going to the waste, Dr. Ben. How will I go to the dump site and start picking things? Of course, I'm not saying you should go to the dump site, but we can engage somebody. You can even start to say, okay, my own job is to be an industry that collects waste. So people collect and they bring to you, you buy from them. And when you buy from them, you can negotiate better with the industry that needs this waste. So every waste economy begins with people that identify and gather value while others might simply ignore. So collection is not mere survival work, it is the foundation of the circular economy. The second way you can actually benefit from this value chain is to be a sorter. And there are two processes you can actually use. One, there's the manual sorting. In this case, you can actually have an industry where you get to employ people that sort, because it's important for waste to be sorted. There are different waste. You know, when you go to your dump site in your own home, you generate both kitchen waste, plastic waste, metal waste, and of course, you throw all of this away. We can't use all of them together. We need to sort. So sorting is another key area when it comes to waste value chain system. How do you sort? We can do it manually. Of course, manually means you have to employ people. Of course, so if you have been thinking about being an employer of your own, this is a good option for you. By doing manual sorting, you get to pay these people. In fact, currently, I was somewhere about 2 weeks ago, and I see a small industry. In fact, you need to see the amount of people that come there every day to dispose waste. That is what they do. They collect waste from people, from citizens, and of course, they pay them, which means they are also going to make money from them. And when I was going to their facility, they had manual sorters, people that were there sorting this waste accordingly. So that means people make money from this, from the collection chain. Some people make money by sorting the waste. So even if you sort the waste again, you make more money because you get to sell the waste separately. But most people don't have the time to do that. So you can come in as a sorter. Of course, you can say, well, Dr. Ben, I can't do manual sorting. Of course, you can invest in industrial technologies. You can invest in a robot that can actually do sorting. And that's why you can actually develop a conveyor system. And of course, once people know that, okay, if you want to sort your waste, go to X, Y, and Z company, you can charge for that services. And that's the only thing you offer, how to sort the waste. You invest heavily in the machine, you invest in the electricity generation, and of course, you can be able to make money from that aspect as well. So again, sorting waste transforms mixed waste into valuable resources, and of course, helps us to get higher values. And why sorting matters is because, again, it improves recycling efficiency, increases material value, reduces contamination. I've stressed this. It supports manufacturing industries, creates employment opportunities, because somebody, whether you are doing industry or you are doing manual, somebody must be involved. Somebody must on the gen. Somebody must load the waste. Somebody must check what has been done at the end of the day. So it's not a process that will be void of individuals or humans. It's not possible. So quickly, we move on because of time. I'm almost through. You can also come in as a middle operator. And of course, you can start a small scale enterprise from this. Because one of the key things here is, like I said, the waste business is a very big business. It's not only for one. So you can say, okay, fine, Dr. Ben, I've got this money I have with me. I can invest it. And let me see. Most of you are looking for ways to invest your extra cash. Of course, this is one way you can do that. You can set up a mini industry. You can provide cleaning services. You can provide processing services. In fact, you can buy a crushing machine here. Currently, this morning I'm meeting with some consultants. We want to develop a crushing machine for our e-waste products, because for different waste, there are different ways of processing them. So the machine for crushing pets is not the same machine that you use to crush metals or e-waste. Every product of waste, kind of waste, have their different ways of processing. So you can say, okay, Dr. Ben, I want to invest in a compactifier. So when people have sorted the waste, they can bring them to your business. And of course, you get them compacted together. Of course, you can say, Dr. Ben, I have money. You can invest as a truck. Somebody has to move this waste from one location to the other. You can invest your money to buy a truck that moves one waste from one place to the other. So, by the time you have this, you know how much money comes to your pocket every day or every month, aside your extra income, your normal income. So we call this multiple stream of income. So you actually, if you have extra money, you can actually do this business as well. And of course, quickly, let's move on to the fourth one, which is the recycling and the manufacturing. You can say, okay, fine, I want to play at the big level. You can set up a recycling industry. Recycling industries actually transform waste into industrial raw materials and new products. So you can say, okay, I want to set up a plastic recycling plant. The only thing I want to be making from plastic waste is maybe chairs. I want to make plastic products. I want to make plastic casings. You can actually come up from that. So in that case, you have to buy machineries. You have to engage or employ people that have the expertise. You can even set up a mini foundry. I know of people that's what they have. Their foundries are very small. They have it by their house. They bring all these aluminum cans, melt them, and use them to make cookwares. You can even set up a paper industry. Currently, Africa, we import most of our paper materials, even up to tissues, up to toothpick. This should not be. It should not be. We should be able to use, because the paper waste we have can be recycled to create more papers. The agro waste that is available can be recycled to create cardboards or papers. So we need to start thinking differently. Instead of spending so much money in import, why can't we begin to manufacture these things locally so that our people can have employment, our people can actually have jobs, and our government can save on foreign reserves? Of course, organic waste, we can begin to develop biogas. Currently, electricity generation is a major challenge in Africa. So we don't have nuclear power plants like other developed countries, but we can develop a biogas generating plant. So many research has been done in this area, but there has been less practical implementations. And this is where the SMEs need to play a key role. So there's need to be a connection between the academia and the industry, what we call the town and gown relationship. What you are doing in the academia, how does it get to the industry? How does it become a tangible product? I want us to begin to think about that prospect as we start our day. Finished products, you can actually have from recycled materials, stone bricks, pavement bricks. You can have plastic chairs that you can sell, plastics, recycled packaging materials, construction materials. All of these things are areas from where you can also. So if you have the money, of course, this place requires big capitals and big investment. If you have the money, you can start from here. And the fifth part is product developers, people that turn recycled materials into valuable products. And if you look at this part, you find that we have different classes of recycled waste here: the plastic, the metal scraps, the e-waste. Now, when you apply the right innovation, you can convert them into these market-ready products that we have here. So what it means, you can say, okay, me, I'm a techie person. I understand how to develop solutions that can convert this waste into product. Of course, you can start from there as well. Talking about now, I'm trying to see how we can develop, how we can begin to extract laboratory salt from e-waste. Imagine what I'm done with that research. Of course, I'm not going to leave it on the shelf. I have to start producing something from it. So for academia, you can also partner from this aspect. All those research you have done, why not convert them into money? Why not package your idea and set up an industry with it? And lastly, technology innovators. These are for techie people. You are good with machines. You have AI, you have IoT. You can automate the process. You can say, okay, let me look at this process. It's too manual. You can design a robot that can sort. You can design a machine that can, like I said right now, I'm meeting with some people this morning. We want to fabricate a machine that can help us grind our e-waste into different particle size. So I'm going to look for a local person to say, okay, discuss the ideas. He has experience in machine fabrication. And of course, before you know it, our device is ready. That alone, I can be selling that machine alone and be making money from it. So there is no part of waste where you can make, because we need technology to actually drive this way. So technology, in fact, again, yeah, I talk about a mobile app. Somebody can generate waste, but again, where do you sell your waste to? One of the key difficult areas when it comes to waste generation is people don't know where to sell it to. So somebody can say, okay, I'm a computer person. I can create a mobile app that connects a waste generator to the industry that needs the waste. So you can charge the waste generator or you can charge the industry. And that's one of the things that is very key. So how then do you get paid from the waste economy? I've talked extensively about that. The waste economy is not only about recycling, it is an ecosystem of income opportunities. You can be a collector, you can recycle, you can create recycling startups, you can start small, just recycle plastics. From there, you can begin to, in fact, I can tell you right now in Nigeria, we have some startups that are funded by China. China brings all the equipments for them. All they need to do is use those equipments to process those waste and sell only to China. They don't sell, that's the condition. And they make money more than people that actually have white-collar jobs. They make money because you have a steady customer base. So they will tell you, this is the machine. Sometimes they even give you the machine for free. But the condition is, don't sell to anybody, just sell to us. So unknown to you, China is actually tapping raw materials from Africa because, again, it's cheaper for them. And that's why if you check the lot of exports going out from Africa, they go to China. You can even be a consultant. You can just be a consultant. You make money, consult for the government, discuss about policies. You can even consult for the manufacturing industries. You can even be the one that connects the manufacturers to the collectors. So there's a lot of value chains you can create from this waste economy. You can definitely make money from any part you turn to. If you even come to the right here, you can have a smart pricing, you can have analytics. Somebody wants to say, okay, how much waste do we generate in my area every day? Some of us don't know that information. Somebody can offer that solution and help you understand what amount of waste is generated annually. Africa don't have statistics. Of course, South Africa actually has some statistics about municipal waste that have been generated. But what about other African countries? What about other towns, cities, states? How many waste? Can we say? Can we be able to say this is the amount of waste generated per year or per month? So you can work that out. You can even be a logistic firm, provide logistic services to transport this waste from one place to the. You can even get grants to support whatever ideas that you have. And of course, again, you can still build partnerships. So a connected waste ecosystem creates accessibility, scalability, as well as financial opportunity. And lastly, the third layer, how do you build wealth from waste? Practical blueprints. Of course, I've emphasized on this part where you have to see it, think about the solution, build the solution, test the solution, and go to market or start making money with the solution. So it's important that as an academia, we can develop waste processing techniques, you can design and fabricate recycling machines, you can create recycling and safety protocols. You can even research into sustainable material applications. You can build AI and mobile applications. All these streams has what it takes to provide money. Once you develop a way of processing a waste, you can hide it, you can resell it, you can patent it, and that is where you make your money from. And of course, one of the things we need to know that research creates scalable solutions. And of course, these are evidence-based innovation. So if you're still doing research that has no impact in the human lives, then of course, you are not doing fine, because every research institutions are not just centers of knowledge. They are supposed to be engines for sustainable innovation and economic transformation. So you can even be a material scientist, like I said, like myself. What I do is all of this waste, I try to look at the material constituents. What is this waste telling me? Where can it be used? You can be an environmental engineer. In fact, these days we talk about green water treatment, how to use the agro waste to treat waters. Okay, you can be a mechanical industrial engineer. This day we're talking about 3D modeling, 3D printed housing. All of them can be generated from waste materials. Of course, you can be a computer science and data system analyst where you develop mobile applications, Python languages, a lot of applications you can develop to help people understand how, in fact, to even manage the money coming in, you need a mobile application also. So innovation does not begin in factories alone. It also begins in laboratories, classrooms, and research centers. And at this point, I want to share lastly with us the Singapore model. It will interest you to know that Singapore as a country powers most of the electricity using waste. Singapore has a population of about 5.9 million. They have a very limited land space, and that's one of the reasons why they had to go into the waste to energy model that they are currently using. The incineration plants generate electricity from the heat produced, and of course, the country integrates recycling, incineration, energy recovery, and of course, landfill management into one coordinated systems. So it's important for us to know that if Singapore as a nation can convert large portion of its municipal waste into electricity through advanced waste to energy infrastructure, then of course, as Africa, we can actually do the same. Africa may not immediately replicate Singapore's infrastructural scale, but Africa can adapt the principle. Waste should be strategically utilized, not merely discarded. It will also interest you to know that Singapore imports waste from other countries. So if you want to even sell waste to other countries to Singapore, you can also make money from there. So I leave us with this thought.
Yeah.
The future of waste starts with personal responsibility. Stop leaving value behind. Take your waste with you. Don't abandon your expired tires. Used tires can become industrial resources. Your old car spare parts can become cash. Waste is often misplaced value. And finally, waste is not the problem. Wasted opportunity is. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank-
look forward to continue the conversation later.
mm,
Apologies for the time, but I think it
thank-
was a time well spent. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. This is very timely. This is very timely. Thank you very much. three things that come out here. Waste is not really a waste. We can actually generate something from it. Over the weekend, we were attending a conference. We had a leader from Nigeria here in Kenya called Yinka Babalola, and he was talking of work day or work day. Yeah. So I think from this we can all go to work and think about how to make the world a better place by managing our waste. Just to mention that PowerMonday is a global platform. People join from different parts of the world, including US. I can see some of the people, like a friend of mine here with whom we did physics. I'm happy to hear you did physics. Cannot sleep before he logs in. So he logs in and learns, then goes to sleep because of the time difference. People join from China, from uh, uh, Japan, and different other places. So everyone is welcome, and it's always free. And we use the same link, same day. You can use. You can follow. I've posted a link there for our WhatsApp channel. You can follow to get updates, and you set your own alarm. We use the same link. And also to join Power Monday WhatsApp group, you always advise that you should have attended at least a session. So for people who've attended today, you qualify to join. When you fill the form, you will be added. I'd like to, because of time, I'd like to invite Maurice, who wanted to pass a vote of thanks, and then we move towards a close. And for people with questions, you can hold it. We always have to finish this session by 8:15, and thereafter you can always lag behind to ask a question from the speaker. Maurice?
So thank you very much. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very, very, very much. I think this has been a very, very powerful Power Monday. Very, very technical things presented in a very, very simple language. And sometimes there are things we know, but when they are done, repeated again, you start seeing them in a different way. So thank you so much, Dr. Festus Ben, for this presentation. You've really shown that really the future of waste starts with the personal responsibility. Right from the beginning, when you talk about the issue of mindset, how we view the world affects how our mind comes in and how we interpret every other thing. I think that was a very powerful beginning. That even that image that you showed us in the beginning. Some of us see waste, other people see people, others see businesses, and our view, and even through the presentation, and even linking this to the SDGs, SDG 1, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13, that all this one single thing like waste management can be aligned to so many SDGs. That was very, very powerful. And then you mentioned a lot of innovative ways of using waste, and even the process of getting into this sector with the analogy that you need to see what is around you, think about it, build, test, and scale. Those were very, very powerful. And I was looking at the value chain that you shared, and there's actually two steps. In addition to what you say, there are just two steps which I know you took it for granted that people know, but you can just remind us. You say that we start with collectors, but before collectors, there's a person who is disposing, and in the value chain, and the person who is disposing is actually getting zero benefit. They are actually wasting. They are getting a negative. And
He's
then
the
there's the
supplier.
collectors. They're supplying for free. And then there's the collectors. Then there are the sorters. There is the middle operators, the recyclers, the industry, the product developers, and tech innovators. And I was just doing, and in fact, there's another lot here, which we also didn't talk about, the people who do this final disposal of things which cannot be recycled, even the landfilling. And there are people who even sell their land that you can come and throw your waste inside them, and then they dig it and cover it. There are countries who have opened up their oceans to waste to be disposed. And I was just looking at some of the statistics in the computer that the collectors get just a ratio of 1 times 1 of the value of whatever they are collecting. The sorters get almost 3 times what the collectors will have gotten. So they get like 3 times income over the people who did the collectors. And the collectors are doing actually the manual work. They're doing the heaviest job. And then the recyclers, the people inside up there, they get almost 8 times what the initial people got. And then the final people, like the tech people, you talked about the people doing automation, the computer scientists, the data scientists, material scientists, these people get almost 22 times what the other people had gotten. So we really thank you. I know, and you mentioned the time difference. Here it is 8:13, and in Nigeria, perhaps it is 6 or even 5. That means you woke up very early to present this to us. We thank so much the participants who joined from Nigeria. I did a rough count and estimate, and I realized that there are close to 30% of the participants today, and that means they woke up quite early to provide, support for yourself, and even the participants who joined from other parts of the world, including Kenya. If it were not for you, this talk would have been of waste, as we've talked. But because you are there and you plan to be here, we really thank you so much. So the future of waste starts with a personal responsibility. That was very powerful. I also take this chance to thank Dr. Lucita for the poem that you gave us at the beginning. It's always inspiring, and we always look forward to it. I would also like to take this chance to thank Otieno Paul Peter and the team behind PowerMonday, Lady Noel, Lima, Dr. Lima, Olale. We have a big team, plus the volunteers who support the process. And also like to take this chance to thank Falcon. Falcon has been sponsoring these talks regularly for the last couple of months. And from what I understand from Paul Peter, all other organizations, individuals, and companies are welcome to come and sponsor PowerMonday. And even not only the PowerMonday, which we have here, the events which are coming ahead of us, be it the charity event, be it the dinner, we welcome companies to come and support and sponsor this initiative. So I just got a Bible verse which I find perhaps very useful for this talk, and that is from Hosea 4:6, which Hosea was saying, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." And this is why I think many of us, and in Africa and many countries, we keep on remaining behind simply because of lack of knowledge. You sharing that Singapore is generating electricity to sustain the economy by using waste is really an eye-opener. In a lot of African cities, even today, when I was walking along the street, you see a lot of waste thrown east, west, everywhere, and we're not using it to our success. And yet these developed countries are using it. You mentioned China coming to purchase waste from us. It's simply because they have seen the hidden gold, literally the hidden gold, even in the things we throw away, the computers we throw away, the old phones we throw away, the old TVs we throw away. Those people come and say, I can help you to go and throw these things away, and we give them for free. And then they go and extract the most valuable elements in those things. So my people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. And what you have shared today, Dr. Festus Ben, is that when we seek knowledge, when we have a mindset change, we can see the world in a different way. So thank you so much, Daktari, as we call in Kenya, and all the participants who came, and all the people behind the PowerMonday and Falcons. And we really look forward to other future sharing. My name is Morris Omondi. I work for CPF Foundation and the Kenya Association of Fundraising Professionals, and I'm very, very proud to be associated with this PowerMonday. Thank you very much.
Great. That was very elaborated. I think from there we'll just go straight to closing it. Just to mention that let's make the decision to join the dinner. Put your name in the chat. Reach out to the contacts that are given in the PowerMonday WhatsApp group. At this particular moment in time, I think we must just close the official part. And on that note, I want to I want to call for a volunteer to say a word of prayer to close as our tradition. And then from there, we can go ahead to interpret.